What is going on, people? It is another Monday night, and I hope you guys are ready for another great episode of Live with the Kranky Canadian, number 25. And as usual, I am heavily caffeinated, and I'm ready to rock and roll.
I'm Streetside Anthony, and you're watching the Kranky Canadian.
All right, guys. So happy Monday. I'm ready to have a good time. And I got another one of my buddies from the north, man. Say what's up, Hyper Combo Comics.
What is up, Roger? What is up, chat? Yeah, it's Hyper Combo Comics, and I'm happy to be in the live with the Kranky Canadian. You're gonna see me fumble a lot in this.
Yeah, that's all right. That's the beauty of going live, you know.
Yeah, and I'm sure Sid's gonna love every minute of it.
He's got enough of his own videos to have to comb through after an 8-hour show than to take clips from my show for sure.
Yeah.
So we got about 15 or so people watching. We had some people tailgating. Let's do some shout outs here. I'm gonna say Gene Malo, and he's from Canada as well, fellow Canadian here. What is up? Newbie Comics, another one. Uncanny Swag, Lady Sith, We Deep, yeah. We got Roger Levesque in the house, good-looking guy. Michael the Beast Benston, what's going on, brother? We have Alex Garcia, the illustrator, the man behind all the new swag we got going on at 3 Men in a Basement and our rebranding. Let me see who else we got in here. It's new. A lot of Chinmo. What is up, Chinmo? Nobody can say his name without saying it like that. Sith Lorley, there you go. He's happy to see Uncle Hyper on the Cranky Canadian.
He's older than me.
I'm about to say, yeah. I thought you were younger than him. He calls everybody Uncle, like Uncle Tivo, Uncle.
He's trying to hold on to his youth, I guess.
Hold on to his youth. It's possible. Everett Otto from 3 Men in the Basement in the house. What is going on, brother? Thanks for getting in the chat. BX Boxer. Lady Sith, we got.
I see my co-host FaceTime also popped in the chat.
I didn't. Tim's in Kovitz, FaceTime, Mr. Mitchell, Streetside Anthony, what's up, brother? The brother Dave Levesque in the house. A T-shirt to the stars, T-shirt maker to the stars, I should say. And if I missed you guys, I'm sorry. This thing skipped down on me. Copy 801, what's up, brother? I think I got everybody. And, keep the chat popping, guys. And as we see you, we'll highlight you. If you have any questions for Hyper or myself, just type it in the chat. We'll get to it. And also, if you are not following Hyper Combo Comics, you should be. And in the description of this video are his links to his Instagram page and his YouTube page. So make sure you follow, subscribe, hit that notification bell. And all that good stuff. But wait till the show's over, and the description will be there after. Gomez the Broski in the house. What is up, man?
Yeah, boy.
All right. So, don't you tell people where you're from, man? Tell us a little bit about your personal life. Don't go too in depth though, because I got some questions to ask you.
All right. I'll try to give like the Cliff Note version. Yeah. I mean, as you mentioned, I'm from up north. Pretty much lived all my life in Montreal, Canada. Spent a few years in Toronto. Have only really gotten back into collecting the last 3 years. Kind of fell off of it like for about 10 years or so. Just kind of life and everything else getting in the way. And right now I'm just doing my thing on Newbie's channel. Pretty much been a firm fixture there for like the past, I would say, since November, December. We've been doing our thing on Sundays, and we also do our Tuesday segments where it varies from topic to topic. Like this week, we're doing the whole Falcon and Winter Soldier talk. So we kind of keep it relevant with what's currently going on in the comic market. And Sundays are just our usual new comic book day talk and our spec talks. So yeah, man, that's pretty much all in a nutshell. And I guess I'll divulge more as the show goes on.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully. You want to tell everybody what your real first name is?
My real first name is. This is going to be a breaking news because no one knows. No one's ever heard of it unless they're backstage. It's actually Heinrich. It's a German name because actually I'm born in Germany, so my parents gave me a German name. But it's kind of weird because when people see my resume sometimes and then I show up for the interview, they don't put two and two together because they're like, Like one guy actually said it to my face, like I was expecting like some blue-eyed, like blonde hair dude to show up, and then I pop in with yeah.
That's funny. Did you tell him, hey, that's racist, man?
Yeah, I mean,
No.
I'm not too sensitive
Is it
about
spelled with the height with the is that a hyphen? What do they call those little
No,
dots over it?
No, no. You don't have to say my name with an accent. It's
Okay.
just a HEINRICH. Yeah, trust me, I've heard it all. I've heard
All
all
right. So there you go. Breaking news. You heard it here first. So I first met you on YouTube. So let's start with Instagram. I mean, your page started in 2019. So you say that you were into comics before, took a break like most of us have to do. And that's when you kind of got back into it. Well, tell us a little bit how you got onto Instagram and how you came up with the name and all that.
Okay, so the thing is, I mean, I was really, I guess, starting to collect comics back in 2008, 2009. But at that time, I wasn't really so much into the speculation or any of the, keeping up with the rumors. I was just collecting comics for the sake of the stories, and that was pretty much it. So in that regard, I was collecting trade paperbacks and floppies. So I was like I was collecting both because I was just in it for the story. I kind of fell off of the whole hobby when I moved to Toronto, like in 2010. Because kind of
Did you lose a bet that you had to move from Toronto?
No, it's just that you know what it is, man. It's just because like I was living in Montreal for like the past 20 or so years, so I kind of needed a change of scenery. So I figured, let me just move to another. I didn't want to like move to like a small remote town where like you had to drive 30 minutes to a grocery store. I figured, let me just keep the same metropolitan feel to it. So I figured Montreal to Toronto is not so much of a bad transition. So yeah, I spent a few years in Toronto, and then I moved back home just because there's some family situations and all that was going on. And I got back in the hobby 3 years ago, because I was at a point where, I mean, okay, I'll just be candid, because like I lost my dad in 2018. So
Sorry to hear that.
yeah. So the thing is, it was a situation where I kind of I was at a place where I kind of needed something to keep myself occupied. So it was like around Easter time, and I guess one of my local comic shops put an Easter sale ad. So I figured, let me just pop in because I needed something to kind of just get my mind off things.
Yeah.
And then I just picked up a few issues, and then I started reading them, and then it's like one thing led to another, and then I'm like, oh shoot, like it's almost like, like when you don't realize what you've missed until you started getting back into it. That's kind of how I felt when I got back into the hobby. And oh, so this is kind of what I enjoyed before, and I'm just starting to get back into the groove. And one thing led to another. I started like watching certain YouTube channels, and slowly but surely started finding my niche in terms of what I wanted to start reading. Because before I was just picking up random issues and then kind of trying to find my place, I guess, in this
figure out what you like, kind of thing. Huh?
It's like, dude, like when you've been gone for 10 years, there's a lot of things that like I missed out. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. It's like, so Batman has a son now? It's like there's a lot of things that, it just kind of, I felt like Captain America, when he gets taken out of the freezer and, and then it's like this whole new world. So yeah. And then after that, I started collecting, and then the whole IG thing really started, just because after a while, like it's almost like I'm like collecting is a very solitary hobby. You're basically buying the books and you bring them home. But I kind of wanted to show what I had, social media wise, right? So
yeah,
I used to have a personal page, but honestly I'm not that active on my personal side, to be honest. It's more of my comic page that I'm more active on, and I figured, let me dedicate this page just to comics and just kind of share my stuff with the community. And then the community was pretty receptive, and then that's how I ended up meeting like guys like you and Sith and other people, like even in this chat. They saw what I was posting, and then they showed me love, and I showed them back. So yeah.
So how did you come up with the hyper combo comics? Where does that come from?
Okay, it's kind of funny because Lady Sith will appreciate this because she's a fan of Street Fighter, but I'm not so much right now because of work and everything else. But I used to be a very big gamer. and one of my favorite games was Street Fighter, and most fighting games. So one of the things that they say is like hyper combo finish. So I'm like,
Okay.
okay, I'm like, okay, that's a cool, catchy name. So let me just add that into the. Well, first off, I want to search if anyone trademarked or had that name already in their IG profile, and then I'm like, okay, no one has that name. It checks out. So I grabbed that and put that in Hyper Combo Comics, and yeah, that's how the name Hyper Combo was created.
Yeah, she loves it.
Yep.
All right, that's a good story, man. That's something that you love that you took into what you're doing now, and as I'm sure you've experienced the same as everybody else. And once you got into it, the community is pretty inviting, and you find all sorts of people. I mean, the people I talk to the most now are people that I met through comics on Instagram. All the private chats I'm in,
Yeah.
and the stuff that I'm doing on the weekends. Like, oh, we can go, hunting over here. Who the hell lives over there? Oh, okay. Especially in the area that we're in, New England. An hour drive, and I'm around a whole new group of people. So it's definitely a cool situation that we're in that we can all share together.
It was a bit intimidating to me at first, just because I was getting back into the hobby, and like I said, like there was like a big gap where I wasn't following any of the storylines and all that. I wasn't sure how receptive the community would be with my lack of knowledge, so to speak, because you sometimes hear those stereotypes where like those fanboys, like when they get really riled up about like having something, like if you misquote or drop the wrong fact, and then they're like, you idiot, this is not this. So I was like, I was very hesitant, showing, putting captions on my photos, like, oh, I hope I don't start pissing off other people. But no, the community was much more receptive than I expected.
The percentage of people that act that way are a lot lower than the people who accept you, for sure.
Yeah.
So I was just flipping through your Instagram today, and I came across this picture. So
yeah.
So you get Cates and you got Kirkham, and I'm not sure who this other guy was.
It's Frank Thierry.
Yeah. Dude, are you really that short, or are these guys just that tall?
No, dude, I'm actually a small dude. I've actually, I'm not that. That's why I was joking around with Newbie and Faith. How what I like about this whole YouTube thing is you only see the people from the torso up.
Yeah, so you could be 7 feet tall or 3 feet tall. We don't know.
Yeah, it's no, dude.
So say I've been near these other guys, and I don't remember them being that much taller than me.
No. I would like to say that they were on milk crates and I was on the floor, but no, we were all pretty much at a level playing field. So.
All right, so you're a little dude. There's nothing wrong.
Yeah, man.
We're all these little dudes.
Hey, man, listen. It is what it is. I work with what I got. So and it hasn't been a hindrance to me thus far. So
it really did catch me off guard. I'm like, holy crap! You're right. You don't realize how I mean, you got guys like King of the Golden State. He's big because his fingers are like 4 feet long. But for the most part, from what I understand, Tim Tebow is like 6'6". Like you can't tell that by watching it.
I can't have people see the problem with me is I need to find new people in my entourage, because I keep making friends with these dudes that are a lot taller than me, so I end up sticking up. So I need to find some more smaller dudes to kind of bring into my group. Because it sticks out like a sore thumb sometimes.
That's funny. I had to give you a little dig there. Sorry.
Hey, man, I'm on your shot. It's kind of what I expected.
So you started your first YouTube. So you had a YouTube channel from years ago, but really the first comic-related post was just this year in January. And so your YouTube debut, I was actually a part of, right? So you why don't you tell people the story in the way you recollect it?
Yeah, so the thing is, prior to the whole YouTube thing, I was just content on just posting stuff on IG, because by nature I'm not exactly a very I guess you could say I'm more or less an introvert, and I'm not really used to being like the center of attention. I usually like to blend into the crowd, so that's why IG was perfect, because you just show your books and you're behind the camera and that was it. That's all. But then I think I was talking to Sith or something, and Sith was like, because I was like watching Spine Dicks and all that, and he was like trying to push me to do YouTube and kind of put myself out there. And I was hesitant at first. And then one day I dropped an IG, just a video on IG just showing my books. And I was legit surprised by how positive people took to that video. So, and then people are saying, oh, you need to come on YouTube. So I'm like, all right. And then I messaged Sith, and I'm like, all right, because I think, Sith and Sparks kind of messaged me, and they wanted to basically introduce me into the. I didn't have a channel at the time, so they wanted to introduce me, I guess, into the YouTube world through their channel. So, I got to talking with Sith and Sparks, and I just wanted to make sure like everything checked out, like my audio and all that. So, so then Sparks kind of arranged a time for me, Sith, and him to kind of go on live, and then you came on as a surprise guest, and then that was the first time I got to meet the Kranky Canadian live on YouTube in my very first full appearance. It wasn't a cameo. It was actually a full appearance.
A full appearance. It was supposed to be a cameo because you were like, I want to come on for a couple minutes, and we were live for like an hour and a half or something like that.
Yeah, I spoke and everything. So there's no doubt it was a full.
And to be honest, I think back, Sith, maybe you can recollect this in the chat. I don't even remember how that all came about. I almost feel like Sith and I were on either another show or we were talking together about something. He's like, "Hey man, jump on to Sparks, jump on the Sparks thing because Hyper's gonna come on. He wants to test his stuff."
I think you were actually it was a Friday, so you were doing your 3 Men in the Basement show.
Maybe we had Sith on our show.
I think that's actually the night that you did have Sith on your show. And
so we either had him on the show, or that's right. He messaged me, and said, "Hey, hop on with Sparks because we have Hyper coming on." I'm like, "All right, hell, you know me."
Yeah. It's and then Sith was like, "Yeah, we're gonna have a special guest on," and he didn't tell me who it was until I think we went live. and then I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's cool." The Kranky Canadian and another fellow Canadian to even it out.
Yeah, balance the scales.
Yeah, I mean, good versus evil kind of thing. I mean, you could the chat can figure out which side is good. I mean, I won't.
Yeah, we'll let them decide that.
Yeah.
But and I remember that was a lot of fun. I think towards the end, even Sith was like, "Boy, I think we expected to come on for 5 minutes, and we've been on for over an hour now."
Yeah, the thing is, I remember telling Sith I would have stayed on longer, but usually Friday nights I kind of play. Like it's usually the night I kind of catch up with some of the guys that I don't see often, and we kind of play Call of Duty online, and that's kind of like usually like I reserve some time for that. So that's why I told him I had to dip out a bit earlier. But then I went back on the replay. I didn't realize you guys went on for another 2-3 hours or something after I left. So
it wasn't quite that long, but yeah, we went on. Yeah, that's when you nicknamed Sparks Woody, right? We were talking about.
Yeah, and wait, correct me if I'm wrong. Were you guys watching like some Quidditch match or something?
Yes, I think that.
Okay,
I think Sith made a comment about that too. How we. That's when we found what. So we found out that he was playing. He's playing Quidditch. That's
and
it.
That's actually,
and the Quidditch secret was revealed, and he showed us clips of himself playing like in college. That's where it all started.
Wait a minute, he was actually in that clip?
Yeah, that's why he played it.
Oh shoot! I thought those clips was he just popped a random Quidditch match on YouTube. I didn't realize he was like the star of his own show. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
No, it was actual footage from a championship that he played in.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So Sparks is no joke. He actually is the legit Quidditch champ.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if we revealed whether he won that game or not.
Yeah, I guess now I'll have to go back to the footage and find out. And actually, Sith brought up another point. It's actually during that time that I also busted out the Toy Story DVDs and to pay homage to him being Woody.
We did, for a bunch of people on his channel. We sure did make fun of him a lot, didn't we?
Yeah, I think that's what kind of caught him by surprise, because this is just like my first appearance, and I kind of felt comfortable. But look, I'm the type of guy that usually, if I feel like if I'm friendly with someone, I don't mind like ribbing them and joking around with them, because it's unless they're overly sensitive. I mean, obviously, I'll kind of take a step back. But my thing is, I give as much as I take. So
Yeah. Pause.
oh gosh, I should have.
The butcher. That's right. That's where you got that clip about touching on guy's tip or something.
No. That
Whose
wasn't.
tip was it?
That was actually on Spine Ticks.
Yeah, on Spine
That
Ticks,
was on
right?
Spine Ticks.
Yeah, whose tip was it you were touching?
Oh gosh, listen, I wasn't touching. It was a poor choice of words.
Yeah. Oh well, they always are. That's why they become memes.
Yeah, it involved who dat when I mentioned.
Oh, that's right. Who that's
yeah.
tip you were touching?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't.
Butcher,
I said that.
The butcher knows nobody wins while playing Quidditch.
And actually, Roger, that's the same segment where your whole highlight the guy thing was born. If you remember, because
yes, I like that guy.
I know things were a bit blurry for you that night, but
things were a lot blurry. My friends left me hanging. And, highlight this guy, man.
But yeah, because after I was the guy that you basically wanted us to highlight. So once again, full circle. Here we are.
Oh, this is funny. Tim's. Am I the only one Googling Quidditch?
I don't even know how to spell Quidditch, to be honest.
No, it's not very easy.
No.
I didn't. I kind of knew it. I wasn't. I think he definitely caught all of us all off guard by making us realize there was an actual college sport and they actually played it in real person.
I mean, I have a confession to make. I have. And I don't know if I'm going to get roasted in the chat for this, but I have yet to see one Harry Potter film. So some of these references went over my head.
I've seen 3/4 of one. So I'm with you, brother.
I'm
with you. But I happened to see the Quidditch match, so I knew what that was.
Okay.
That's some funny stuff. So like you said, you're a regular on Spine Ticks, and now you're doing a lot of stuff with Newbie on his channel, which is great stuff. Yeah. So when you go on that show, do you find yourself to be like a speculator or talking about investing? Like what's become your kind of place on that show?
It's funny because I kind of had this discussion with Newbie because I was trying to find my niche on his channel as well, because I respect Newbie for a speculation game because I was watching his channel even before I was brought on, and Face and Keys have their comic knowledge down pat. So I was kind of trying to find my footing on the chat. First of all, I was even surprised that they would even invite me on to be a part of their, stable, just because he's already had I think 1,000 something subscribers, and he was doing, pretty well. So I figured he could have picked anyone. And the fact that him, Face, and Keys unanimously voted to have me on, I was, shucks back. Real talk. I was actually, I was not expecting it, and I wanted to pay it forward. I wanted to make sure that when I came on his channel that, I didn't half-ass it or anything. So, and it basically turned into a friendship with all three of them. And sorry, getting back to your question, I wouldn't say, so when I had this talk with Newbie, I kind of told him I try to play the speculation game as much as I can, but I'm the type of person that I'm not okay, the way I'll put it is this. I'm comfortable in my own speculation. I don't know if I'm comfortable enough to the point where, sometimes when you give a speculation and it doesn't pan out, you feel that people are going to kind of
mad at you.
Yeah. So it's almost like, you have little speculations in your head, but I don't know if I'm at the point where I'm confident enough to kind of share speculations, because I have a lot of dots that I need to connect. I feel I'm more better at the new comic book day stuff because I tend to do well on what's coming out in terms of new releases and getting people informed in that aspect. So that's why when we do our new comic book day show, that first part, I tend to shine a bit more than the speculation side. I mean, obviously, I help Newbie when he's doing speculation talk, but I feel that that's where I shine a bit more on the actual reading side and the what's coming down the pipe kind of thing.
Sure, and that's hey, we need that and as part of the content as well. So I think that's probably why you fit in there so well.
Yeah, and it's been a great fit, and that's the thing. I mean, I told Newbie this. I think I told him when it stops being fun for me, that's probably when I know that maybe it's not for me. And the thing is, what's kept me around this long is the fact that when I'm on newbie show, and I'm talking with newbie Face and Keys, it honestly, like, we don't rehearse anything. We're not scripting anything. It's literally, we're just just free talking, and that's why you'll see us on our shows. We take shots at each other, without any restraints, and and the chat loves it, and it's just homies and friends just kind of shooting the shit. It's just we just do end up showing it out to the YouTube world. I mean, obviously, we're a bit more unfiltered backstage, but obviously in the YouTube side, you kind of have to rein it in a bit.
Yeah, I mean that's how we started with Remen as well. Same thing. When we do our Friday night shows, we have a list of things that we're going to talk about and topics that we're going to do, but nothing other than that. Nothing's really scripted. We just kind of giving each other a hard time and let the conversation kind of take it where it goes.
And there was a question that I completely missed that newbie asked me, like, who would play me if there was a Hyper movie? Well,
don't answer that.
Don't answer that. Okay. All right. All right. That was very abrupt. All right.
Damn it! You're not allowed to. No, you're not allowed to answer that.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I'll save it.
So you have two channels. You have two videos on your channel. So what's your plan? Long term, short term? Are you, because like I have a YouTube channel. I don't put anything on it. Like we have our 3 Men in a Basement. All our content goes on there. Do you plan on putting your own content, or are you content being part of the production that you're part of now?
I mean, I'm still going to be a part of the production I am right now. Nothing's going to change whether I put content on my channel or not. I do plan on putting stuff on my channel. Honestly, Roger, the thing, like the hurdle that kind of I have to get over is the whole editing aspect of it and all that part. Because it's so much easier just going live and just saying what you have to say, and then like it is what it is kind of thing. But when you have to do the pre-recorded videos and there's like production involved, maybe like I'm probably making it out a lot bigger than what it is. But that's just one of the, because like I see that newbie, aside from his live shows, he does this like unboxings and all that. I think I did one unboxing video, and that took me a while just because I kept having to cut and do a retake, and then it's almost like I didn't like how that came out, so then I have to, what should have been like almost like a 10-minute video took me like an hour, or like actually more than an hour. So the plan is to do more content on my channel, but I'm probably gonna have to ease into it, and also I probably need to get better equipment. That's the other thing.
Yeah, the program definitely helps, and there's definitely a lot more. It's part of the reason I started this show. That's what I enjoy the most, and interacting with the people, and the time that takes to make pre-recorded videos. And I'm not as technically savvy as other people, so my videos aren't always the greatest what I do.
And you know what? Sometimes it's funny that sometimes some people actually like that more. It's almost like they sometimes want to see a train wreck.
Well, that's why they watch my unboxings.
Yeah, I mean, they don't want to see positive Roger. They want to see Kranky.
Yeah.
Kranky
well, I got a submission coming back on Thursday, I believe, as long as I can get the FedEx guy to leave it here. So hopefully you see fist pumping Roger and not devastated again like the last couple times.
Listen, as much as I enjoy the Kranky Canadian rants, obviously I always wish karma on anyone. I always try to make I always try to hope that people get the best possible grade and whatnot. Like no one wants to see someone with like an 8.0 on a modern book.
Yeah, no, trust me, no one more than me.
Yeah.
So when you first started, you said you got back in the comics. You started watching YouTube. What kind of channels were you watching? Like, who were you watching? Who was Hyper's go-to comic YouTube content?
At first, it was like some of the like bigger guys like Reggie Collects, and I was watching Gem Mint and Comic Dom. Some of the guys that like when you click on YouTube, like they're kind of like
they pop up,
and then it's only when you start going to their channels and then they talk about the friends of the show and all that. Then I started, going down that rabbit hole, and then I started discovering other channels like, Spine Ticks, 3 Men in the Basement, Newbie, and all that. And then, but yeah, it's kind of weird because like when you see some of these guys and they have their followings, like there's a certain, I guess, I don't want to say, it's like a mystique, right? Like, and you don't think that they're that accessible. But when I messaged Reggie, I was kind of surprised how he, responded right away, like to my DMs on IG. So it just goes to show, like sometimes, like we think that like these guys are like big celebrities, but they're just regular dudes, just dropping content.
Sure, absolutely. I've had them both on
Yeah,
this
I saw
show,
that.
and great interviews. So very willing to, like, there was no like, hey, when can you make time? Hey, can you come on? Sure, I'm available next week. Really
Exactly.
easy going. So, all right. So we find, Ever and I talk about all the time that we find that people who collect comics, it's not usually the first thing they collect. So what's the first thing you ever collected?
The funny thing is, I've been a collector of many things all my life, and I guess some people might qualify me sometimes as a hoarder or hoarder. I gotta enunciate these words because sometimes it comes out the wrong. I would say like one of the first things I collected as a kid was like action figures, like TMNT and Batman being like my go-to, and then it morphed into Pogs. I was into Pogs like
Nice.
in grade school. I still have some of my Spawn Pogs with the slammers in my closet, and I still keep those around. And then it went into trading cards, like being from Canada, hockey was my sport, so I was collecting. Yeah. Oh yeah, I heard about how you collect pint glasses.
I'm not allowed to talk about it. All the regulars, okay. all the regulars tell me I mention it too much because usually I set up that question with an example of things that I collect. And
well, don't worry, I'm not going to ask you about how you got your ASM 300. I know that story. So.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to tell that either.
Yeah, but yeah, so then it morphed into trading cards where I was collecting hockey cards, not just like the packs at the card store, but like the McDonald's, those McDonald's cards.
Yeah.
And then that led to Magic the Gathering cards. I was into that for a while, and then the thing is, I noticed like when I was because when you asked me that question,
this guy knows.
Well,
go
you know
Habs,
what?
Go baby, go Habs, go.
Okay, listen. To that point, I like all the Canadian NHL teams, but I think we've had this discussion before. My go-to team is the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I can't say that out loud where I'm living because I probably might get stabbed to death, but it's just because when I fell in love with hockey, I was living in Toronto. So because they were my first, you never forget your first. So
that's what they say.
Yeah. So
yes, Michael, that is a 9.8 behind me, and I pulled out my 9.8 Captain Canuck in honor of our Canadian guests. All right, but I'm sorry. So you were collecting cards. I kind of sidetracked you there.
No worries.
With my nonsense, sorry.
No, I mean, I was collecting Magic the Gathering cards, and then one thing I've noticed is I never seem to stick to a hobby. I just seem to collect things here and there. Comics seems to be the one that I'm currently collecting. Seems to be the hobby that I've probably stuck around the longest in terms of collecting. And I mean, where I am right now in life, I probably will say this would be the hobby that's. Oh, and I forgot. I also used to collect Funkos, but that stuff just took too much space, and I kind of stopped that altogether. But yeah, comics is probably going to be the hobby that. I mean, I don't want to look too far ahead, but that's probably going to be the hobby that's I'm more or less going to be collecting for years to come. Just because I'm so invested in it at this point, in terms of financially and space and all that, that this was probably going to be the hobby that I'm going to be sticking with, for the long haul.
And I agree with that because as I went through my phases, from Matchbox cars as a kid, I collected watches and everything. But there was a time where I was going on eBay and I was collecting anything hockey that came from McDonald's in Canada.
Yes.
The Happy Meals in Canada are so effing badass. Like I have a whole collection of goalie masks from like the late 80s, early 90s, Cujo and Jocelyn Thibault and those guys.
I have those.
The whole setup there. Andy Moog, Mark Richter. Then they had like the Muppets where they had like the different conferences. All the different Muppets were wearing conferences. Then they were like almost like pogs, but they had cold coins. And it was the Team Canada hockey team. And they had, like Ray Bork on one side and whoever replaced them on the ice was on the other side.
Roger, did you have the ones, the McDonald's cards where it's like they capture the moments when you kind of tilt the card where they show an animation kind of thing?
No, I hadn't.
Yeah, it's like NHL moments where it's almost like kind of like a hologram card where you kind of flip it, like you
Oh,
kind of
I
flip
gotcha.
it, and it kind of like he does like a shot or something like that.
Oh, no kidding. I
Yeah, that
couldn't
was like
believe it. I'm like, where did this come from? Like, we go to Canada. I'm like, where'd you get that? Oh, it's McDonald's Happy Meal. What?
they didn't have that kind of stuff in the States.
Oh man, we get. I don't know what the hell we get, but it definitely ain't that, man. And I couldn't believe it. And like, especially when there was Olympic times, Team Canada hockey,
Yeah.
and like I said, little gold coins that looked like Pogs, and it came with the coins and the Pogs, so you could, and it came with a display that looked like a hockey rink, and you put the players in the positions they play. Like, I still have that, half the shit I got hanging on my son's wall now. But
Well, that's why I was kind of joking how some people might think that I'm a hoarder, because the problem with me is like the stuff that I collected. I mean, some of the stuff I got rid of, like if they weren't kept in great condition, but a lot of the cards and my pogs and all that, they're still with me, like in my closet somewhere.
yeah,
Now where they are, that's a different question. I kind of have to find it in one of my bins or something, but they're there. The only time things got thrown out was when I left home and my parents threw out my old hockey cards. Because the thing is, it was my fault partially because I didn't have a proper display, like storage unit, and I was putting my
this is what I'm
hockey
talking
cards.
about. Mini hockey sticks at Tim Hortons. I mean, seriously.
Yeah, and Tim Hortons even did their own hockey cards as well, in fact. But I put my hockey cards in like an old container that used to be for baby wipes. So they figured it was junk, and then they chucked it out. And then I was devastated when I came back and I realized that they're all gone.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So when you're on YouTube and these channels you're part of, you do. Everybody's always trying to come up with relevant content to today's collecting, speculation, that kind of stuff, and you don't always get to share cool stuff or stuff that you have in your collection because you're trying to stay relevant. So you have anything in your collection that you couldn't normally share because it's not really relevant with today's collecting?
So Roger, I mentioned to you how Street Fighter and gaming was a big thing, and even to this day, I still collect a lot of Street Fighter memorabilia. So I actually brought some stuff on the side that I'll just
Awesome.
pop up. So like you know what Fan Expo is, right, in Canada?
What is it?
Fan Expo, it's like the biggest convention in Canada. Yeah. So I went to Fan Expo like about 2 years ago, and I got this and I don't usually pay for commissions. I got this commission done by one of the artists that does the Street Fighter comics.
That's badass.
So I got that done. And I collect, obviously I always have to have my wrong side. My Street Fighter games and all that,
Yeah.
different generation. Oh, sorry. That's actually for the next slide. That was going to be my so from all consoles, the games. What else?
Do you still play all those, or you just can't get rid of them?
No, from time to time, I go down memory lane and I still play some of them on my consoles.
Nice.
Got the Monopoly.
Oh, look at that. That's pretty cool.
Got the coffee mug.
Look at that. Loving that Street Fighter, huh?
Yes, sir. Obviously the comics, the trade paperbacks, and all that. Yeah, and the DVD of the series.
So it was a cartoon. I'm not familiar with it, to be honest with you. So
it's a Japanese animated series that they dubbed in English, and they released it in North America. And Sith might like this because I might show this one day in his PSA tendency. I used to collect Street Fighter cards, like
those.
Yeah. Like I actually bought the full, like the box that had like something 30 or 20 packs in the box. And
nice.
This is something I was supposed to show at the end, but this is like my cream of the crop in my collection. It's the Blu-ray of Street Fighter starring Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Roger,
I didn't even know that existed.
Roger, you have not lived till you've seen Van Damme in his thick Belgian accent playing an all-American soldier. It's supposed to be an action movie, but I consider this more of a comedy. Just because it's an unintentional comedy. It's one of those movies where it's almost like it's so bad it's kind of good. It's like a guilty pleasure kind of movie, and I pop that from time to time.
Doesn't that kind of go with most Van Damme movies?
Yeah, lately that's been the case. Yeah.
Oh, that's fun. I didn't even know that existed. Didn't
Yep.
even know that was a thing. Didn't even know it was a cartoon. Look at that. Learning
It's
stuff. Learning stuff. Copy 801 asked before, wants to know how many books you have in your collection.
ooh, thousands. Like I could just tell you just by short boxes and long boxes. Like right now, I have 3 long boxes and almost. I think I'm hitting close to 10 short boxes. Yeah,
Nice.
it's crazy because I didn't think I would get to this point because I used to be, like I said before, I used to collect trade paperbacks because they were more compact, and I just collected floppies here and there. Like when I got back into collecting like 3 years ago, I pretty much ditched trades. I still keep my trade paperbacks, but I've just been doing all single issues at this point. And people warned me when I got into this hobby, like you're gonna start off with maybe 2 or 3 in your pull list, and then next thing you know, you're gonna have this pull list that you're like, what the hell? It's almost like I don't know. I kind of compared it like to like the honeymoon phase, where like you're a new collector and you want to collect this and that and everything else. But it's getting to the point where it's not so much a financial issue right now; it's more of a space issue, where I kind of have to dial it back a bit in terms of what I'm gonna continue in my pull, and I made this known to Newbie and all that. I'm like, I got to start cutting back because space is only a very limited thing. So
Yeah, for sure. For sure. We always talked about how I didn't start collecting until I met Everett like 8-10 years ago, and I'm 38 short boxes.
wow.
So I get it, man. My wife's not very happy about it. We're trying to do some rearranging and find a place to put it that's not in the middle of a room. So
Now, question for you, Roger. Like, do you ever like get rid of any parts of your collection, or is it, like once it's in your collection, it's pretty much in your collection, then that's it?
no, I'll get rid of stuff if I happen to read it and didn't like it.
Okay.
Like the last couple months I read every issue of Future State. I have no plans on keeping any of those books in my collection.
I like I enjoyed those. Here's the thing about, because I enjoyed especially your Aqua Woman or Aqua Man review, because I read those 2 issues, right, and I'm like, it's not too bad. And then I saw your review, and I'm like, oh, maybe I was wrong. Maybe it is.
She's got a fish foot. Like I mean, really, fish foot.
But the thing is, I guess like sometimes when I'm reading something, especially when I pay for it, I try to rationalize that I made a good purchase, and I'm like, it's not too bad. It's you don't want to be,
They're yours, copy. You can have them.
You don't want to be known as a guy that just got duped into buying something that ended up being junk.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but you never know. Like. Yeah. But I don't plan on keeping any of those.
Okay.
But and there's other things that when we go hunting and stuff, there's things that I pick up. I probably have 4 short boxes worth of stuff that I'm gonna end up selling. Mm-hmm. I probably have 2 or 3 of stuff that I plan on submitting. And just way too many boxes of variants. I got into this kick when I first started, just buying all these cool covers until I realized, they're not that cool.
I mean, I know that you're collecting all those ASM 300 swipes, right?
Yeah. So I like the swipes. I like my hip hop variants. Those I'll always collect. But there's, when Future State came out, I bought like every cover of Superman and Batman, and then it was just too much. It's like you said, sometimes you get into it, you go too far one direction, and you end up with a bunch of junk. So,
the ASM 300, like, it's funny because I don't know who I had a conversation with, like, but I kind of find like at first it was cute, like they were paying respect to it, but then when I started seeing dudes like Juggernaut doing the pose, I'm like, his metal ass is not going to be able to articulate that kind of pose. It's like
they're everywhere.
It's like I want to see MODOK do an ASM 300 pose. I'm sure that's going to be a thing.
Hey, listen, if you can get my fat ass into the pose. There's definitely, all the way from like, indie stuff for people are just, you know, everything from Donald Trump books to. But the problem is once they're in, you're in, man. Like, you know, like someone every time one comes out or there's a pre-order, you should see the amount of DMs. Hey, did you see this? As soon as I see it, I know I'm gonna buy
it. And this community has been a blessing and a curse to me in that regard, because when I was in my own little bubble, I kind of was just collecting, like, I would say at a minimum. But when I started talking with people in the community, like you said, they kind of message you like, oh, you better get on this series. Like, you know, I just read this, like, you know, this might be something, like you might want to get on that. So, and then, you know, listen, I'm not going to front and say that FOMO never kicks in. FOMO definitely kicks in for me from time to time. So I've been a victim of FOMO several times.
I think we all have.
Yeah.
And I think recently with this thing that I've been doing with Future State, I've really been enjoying reading a lot of different stories. So now that that's over, I'm really, all these people are like, I read this was great, man, fuck. So I go out and buy it and I read it, and you know, and it's just that now that I've gotten into this reading 10 comics a week with Future State, I kind of miss it. So I've been reading stuff that I wouldn't normally read, which I think is a good thing, you know?
Yeah. And that's the thing, like, I try to make sure also, like, although I'm getting more heavy into the IG and YouTube side, I don't want to take away from the reading side of it, because that's kind of what got me to this point, right? Like, I don't want to get to the point where I'm just focused on the posting and social media where I'm not even reading any of the books that I'm buying. Like, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, a copy I did enjoy. Overall, I enjoyed that I was reading a lot of books. And Bernie said he found out there's 146 hip-hop covers. I think I'm at about 110.
Nice. And some of those are very hard to come by. Like, some of those are like ratio variants, I think. So
yeah, I think the thing is I like the 300s. I will never get rid of any of those.
No, it's your
With
thing.
the hip hop variants, as soon as like that Miles blew, I'm like, I can't afford not to sell this thing at an auction. You know, like I paid $5 for it, and someone's going to give me $300 for it. You know, someday I'll be able to buy it back. You know, if I buy it back for more than what I sold it, oh well. But at the time, it made sense to me. You know,
and that's kind of where I'm at my point in my collection, where I'm starting to like take inventory of what I have, and because I want to start now hunting certain grails in my horizon. And I'm the type of guy that I'm very frugal with my money. I don't like to spend my own paycheck. I try to be very thrifty when I do comic hunting. Like I try to, you know, it takes me a while to get around the idea of spending 3 digits on certain books. So my thing is I got to start selling some of these keys off in my collection to fund certain grails I have in my horizon.
Yeah, I think that's part of the reason that we really started going all in on these comic hunts and crawls, you know, because, you know, more times than not, I'm picking up books that I don't care to have in my collection, but I know that I can get rid of them. So if I can sell a book to pay for a book that I want, you know, I'm one step up. I don't have to spend money in my bank account, you know.
Exactly. It's I mean, I think ultimately, I think a lot of people would say that you want to get to the point where the hobby funds itself, right? And I think I'm at the point where I've acquired enough that I can start letting certain things go, and start, you know, reaping some of the, you know, stuff that I've been sitting on for a few years now.
Yeah. So what's your favorite book in your collection?
Well, this will be familiar to you. I actually have two, because one it's a CGC slab and one is a raw.
Oh, very nice.
Now, the reason this is one of my favorites is this is actually the first book that I spent over like in the 3-digit mark. Because like I said, when I got into the hobby, it was spending that much was something that, you know, kind of, it wasn't something that I could wrap my head around. And but my top 3 Marvel characters were Venom, Wolverine, and Punisher. And at my goal was at some point to get the first appearances of all of them. 2 of those are obviously very expensive at this point. At the time I got this, Venom didn't take off to the heights it's taken off right now.
Yeah, it's crazy right now.
Yeah. So, you know, I got a good deal on this, so I got this off of eBay. So this is something that'll never, I mean, I might eventually maybe upgrade. I mean, this might be like a 7.5 or an 8.0. I don't know if I'm thinking of getting.
What's your slab?
The slab, it is. Jim Lee's.
Oh, nice.
Now, here's the thing.
Oh, I thought you said you had two ASM 300s.
No. Two issues.
Two books that are your favorite. I got you.
I mean, this book, there's no significance in terms of keys or anything. The only significance is this was actually the first issue that I ever read as a kid. Now, the actual original copy is too battered that I ended up having to dispose of it. This is actually another copy I ended up buying. So I got this signed at Fan Expo 2 years ago at a Jim Lee signing. The story behind this is when I went to a Jim Lee signing, I got it signed and I was going to send it to CGC. And then the facilitators were like, oh, Scott Williams and Alex Sinclair are going to be there. And they worked with Jim Lee on, some of his projects. I knew that Scott Williams worked on this particular issue. So I'm like, you know what? Okay, have Scott Williams sign this, but not Alex Sinclair, because Alex Sinclair had nothing to do with this. And I put that on the forum. It was clear as day. What did they do? They had Scott Williams and Alex Sinclair sign it.
Oh my God.
And then they sent it up to CGC. Here's my thing. Okay, no disrespect to Alex Sinclair, but he's not Stan Lee where, people aren't just sending him random books to get it. Like when he got that book, shouldn't it have
clicked? Why am I signing this?
Why am I signing this random X-Men issue that I had nothing to do with?
Yeah.
So
you would think, but hey, he's like, yeah, if this is what the guy wants.
Yeah. So, I'm never going to sell this because, like I said, this was like one of my first issues I ever read. So it's going to be in the PC. So
nice.
Yeah.
So
but yeah, those are the two.
You don't have a lot of content on YouTube, but you got a lot of stuff that you share on Instagram. If some people look at Instagram and they know that you're a comic guy, they listen to you on YouTube, and they know you're a comic guy.
Yeah.
What is something about Hyper that people wouldn't know just by looking at your social media?
Not in this current, like maybe in the past social media, but in the current social media, they would not know that I love to eat. And when I say I love to eat, Roger, it's not just, I just like food. No, I love to eat to the point where I entered a food eating challenge.
Really?
There's a story behind this. So basically, have you been to Montreal recently?
Recently, I am not. Last time I went was a long time ago.
Okay, so there's a place in like the West Island called Jukebox Burgers, and it's like they kind of do like a retro diner fit where they have an actual jukebox that plays music. So they basically did like a food eating challenge where you basically have to complete the meal, and all you get is a T-shirt. That's it. I just did it for bragging rights. So I was so confident in the challenge that I could get it done, because people, like when people, especially with my size and everything, people don't assume that I can eat a lot. But when I go with my friends, I'm considered almost like the cleanup crew. Like once we went out for like all you can eat sushi, and we ordered too many sushi rolls to the point where like, oh shoot, like you know how those places are, like any extra pieces they charge you for it, right? Like for waste. So my friends were counting like how many pieces they're gonna have to pay extra for. Meanwhile, I'm like taking it one at a time. I end up clearing the whole plate. That's just the kind of guy I am. But in terms of this food eating challenge, I was so pumped for it that I was like, okay, you know what? Sign me up. I'm gonna do it. And I was hyped. I had like my entourage with me. We rolled in, and like I tried to make it into a big thing. Like I was like going into the restaurant like a few weeks prior, scouting other people, looking how they're eating it. I was treating it almost like it was like a sporting event where I was like checking out the opponent and all that. I was Googling like, how to complete food eating challenges. I was really like setting myself up. I got pumped. I go in. All that went away when the plate came and I started going 20 minutes into the challenge. Let me explain what exactly was put in front of me. The actual food eating challenge was, I had like I could be wrong, but it was about 2 pounds of burgers, like 2 layers, which equal to 2 pounds. The buns were 2 grilled cheese sandwiches.
Nice.
There was mac and cheese in the burger. on the side, there was a giant bowl of poutine. And if anyone doesn't know what poutine is,
Oh, very nice.
it's God's gift to cuisine. Look it up. Poutine with giant onion rings. And to wash it down, a tall glass of milkshake.
And how long did you have?
You could take as long as you want.
Oh, they didn't have a time limit on it?
Now they do. But at the time when I did it, they didn't have a time limit. I went to the restaurant at 8 p.m. I basically stayed there long enough that the people started putting the chairs on top of the table, getting ready for the next day. And I was in over my head, like to the point where my buddies were looking at me and they were saying how I look like a dude, like looking at my face. They said that I look like a dude that was losing a fight. Like, I don't know, my color must have changed or something. At one point, they were putting coins in the jukebox machine to kind of play motivational songs. I heard "Eye of the Tiger" and all that while I was eating to kind of pump me up, right? And I was like, and then I kind of had that Eminem 8 Mile moment where I went to the washroom. I didn't hurl. I just kind of like leaned in the sink and I was like, okay, I got to do this. And then while I'm in the washroom, I'm hearing they're playing the song "We Are the Champions." I'm like, what? I came out and basically the guy gave me the t-shirt because I literally had a little bit of milkshake left and like a 1 or 2 bites of the sandwich. And he awarded me the t-shirt and I actually have that t-shirt with me right now. It's I survived the
epic meal time
challenge. Yep, at Jukebox Burger. Sorry, crap.
So it's a false t-shirt.
No. It still counts. It was like
Super Day is right. He just wanted you to leave, man.
It was look. Like literally, like I'm telling you, like the milkshake was this much, and I could have finished it if he gave me time, but he gave me the shirt. And look, who am I to not take the prize and bounce? And here's the thing, I picked up a friend when I got into the restaurant, but because I wasn't unsure of how this situation was going to handle itself when I got home, I told one of my buddies to drop her home, and I want just and I just said, let me just be on my way by myself, because if something happens, I don't want anyone else to kind of see me in this vulnerable state. Yeah, and then when I thought everything was cool, and then when I got home, like my stomach literally looked like some anaconda swallowed a gazelle.
Oh my god, I can bet. Because you're a small guy, like you're thin, so you eat that much food. If I ate it, just make it rounder.
I was actually a bit heavier back in the day. I actually just lost a bit of weight like just recently, but yeah, I was probably 30 or 40 pounds more back then. Yeah. Well, yeah.
All right. So we go out to dinner, and I don't have to worry about not finishing my food. You got it.
Oh, dude. I like I said, I am the cleanup crew.
All right, so we've gotten to the portion of the show, rapid fire with the Cranky Canadian. I have 15 questions I'm going to ask you. Hopefully you'll answer what first thing that pops in your head. If you wish to elaborate, it's allowed. Possibly frowned upon, but that's okay.
Okay.
All right, you ready?
Let's go.
Batman or Superman?
Batman. Superman's too much of a Boy Scout.
Iron Man or Cap?
Cap, just because I know newbie likes Iron Man.
Plain fries or poutine?
Poutine.
Timbits or Munchkins?
I haven't eaten Dunkin' Donuts in a while, so Timbits, just because it's fresh in my head.
I was like, nobody's going to have any idea what I'm talking about. Timbits are so much better than Munchkins. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
Vanilla or chocolate?
Chocolate, because vanilla is just plain. It's in the name, vanilla.
Yeah. Big city or country?
Big city. I need things close by.
Morning or night?
I wish I was more of a morning person, but university kind of messed things up for me, and I've been a night person since.
Yeah, me too. Dog or cat?
Dog. Although I rescued a kitten, you would think that I'd be more of a cat person, but dog.
Yeah, they're agents of the devil, cats. If you could have dinner with 3 people, dead or alive, real or fictional, who would it be?
Mm. That's the question I should have actually prepared for because I've heard you answer this question. Hold on. Let me take a moment. Dead or alive? Michael Jordan, just because I respect his grind and his hustle, and I kind of I like to speak with guys that attain that greatness. So Michael Jordan. Um, Robert Downey Jr. Asking him why he wanted to play Iron Man, just because of all the characters, why'd you pick the D-list character in Marvel? I'm just kidding. But no, Robert Downey Jr. because I respect him as an actor. And the third, you said it had to be fictional or
No, it said real or fictional.
real or fictional. So you know what? Batman. Because I got to ask him, it must be like, how does he keep doing what he's doing after 80 years and those criminals keep getting away? Yeah.
Nice. Nobody's killing you. He's not happy with your answer. All right. If you could be any animal, what would it be?
You know what? This is a very random animal. I'm picking a box jellyfish just because they don't seem to have any natural predators. They just chill and they're just floating around doing their thing and no one can mess with them. And
Jellyfish.
If you touch them, you get paralyzed. Well, if you're a human, probably. So box jellyfish.
There you go. First time, probably last you'll hear that on this show. Name one thing on your bucket list.
One thing on my bucket list. So a little known thing about me is I started getting into kickboxing and all that. And I think I started like a year before I got into comics again. And I got really good at it to the point that I started sparring with people. And COVID kind of messed things up to the point where, gyms are closed and I can't really do anything. My bucket list, I would say, was do an exhibition match. It's just one of those things that's like nothing like professional, like UFC, but something where it's like, where, it's like padded and all that. And you kind of, just for the experience. Yeah. Where the guy's actually trying to take your head off, like obviously within rules, but that's
until it starts hurting, then I'm done.
But that's probably one thing, just because it's as you get older, I don't want to look back and think like, maybe I could have done it.
Yeah. What would be your last meal?
Okay, so that one actually gave some thought. A full rack of ribs, mashed potatoes with some gravy, obviously some greens and all that, just to kind of keep it colored. The ribs, though, it can't just be any ribs, because like I don't want that kind of rib where you have to gnaw it. I need the kind of ribs where
fall off your bone.
Yeah, basically I should be able to inhale it and the meat should just come off. That's the kind of tenderness I need in the ribs. But yeah, that would probably be the last meal.
If they made a movie about you, who would you want to play you in that movie?
Well, okay, you know what? Just
now you can answer this question.
Just based on obviously you called me out on my size and all that, and I am a very jokative person. I would say Kevin Hart.
Nice.
Kevin Hart.
I, for some reason, I thought you were going there.
Yeah.
If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Reading minds. Only because I tend to put my foot in my mouth quite often, and I think that could be avoided quite often if I know what someone else is thinking. Because sometimes I tend to kind of make things uncomfortable, where I might joke to the point where sometimes I don't read the room properly, and I think that things just got awkward. So I probably read but obviously I don't want to read people's minds too much, because I don't want to start getting into that part where they start thinking about those kinky stuff. I don't need that part.
You don't need to know that shit, right?
Yeah, just the part that's beneficial for me.
Some mind reading, controlled mind reading.
Yeah,
there you go. That was rapid fire with the Kranky Canadian. Not bad. You surprised me with the jellyfish thing. That's not something that people usually say.
Trying to be creative, man. Trying to be creative.
Yeah. All right, well, we've been kicking it for an hour and almost 10 minutes, man. This has been a blast. I really appreciate you coming on. Give me some of your time.
Hey man, appreciate you even inviting me. So thank you.
Yeah, this is a good time. You were a great guest. For anybody that's here simply because Hyper's on here, please sub up to 3 Men in the Basement. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you follow us. We are in the middle of almost there. We're about 60 subs away from getting to our 2,500 subs. We got a lot of great prizes. Once we hit that 2,500 sub, we'll do a live show, and we got a ton of giveaways. All you got to do is go to the 2,500 sub giveaway video on our page, and then leave a comment. Watch the video, leave a comment, and then most important, hashtag 3MIB. That's how you get entered. Shortbox has given us $100 credit towards any book on their app. Comics, Tunes, and Toys has given us a mystery box plus a slab. Aegis Comics of Alaska has given us a 1 of 100 Berserker book to give away. I have a mystery box plus 2 9.8 slabs. Dave in a Cave has given away a couple slabs. We got stuff all day to give away, not only to people who entered, but people who were in the chat during the live show. So make sure you subscribe to 3 Men in the Basement. Also, in the description of this video, you're going to find the link to Hyper's Instagram and YouTube. So if you are not subscribed to him, when this is over, click that link, go to his page, subscribe, go to his Instagram, follow him. And as well, in the description of this video, you're going to see all the links to all the friends of the channel, people that helped us get to where we are. Their links to their YouTube channel links are all down in the description. So make sure you go check it out. And 3 Men in the Basement, man, we got we got our new shirts, our new swag coming out pre-sale. Anybody that wants one, we got 6 colors. There they are right there: gray, black, blue, maroon, red, green. Kind of a bigger picture of what it's going to look like. It's basically this logo, but the inside, obviously we're not going full color. If you want one, please just direct message 3 Men in the Basement Instagram page, which we just recently started, or you can hit up me, Otto, or Dave in a Cave. Once we get all our orders, we're going to try and take orders for a couple weeks. Then we'll message everybody kind of like Instagram auction style. Everybody pay. We'll put the shirts into production. Of course, the brother, the T-shirt man to the stars, is doing the shirts. And someone earlier, I think BX Boxer, had mentioned why there's no highlight that guy shirt. Well, there's one. My brother made me one, and that may be the next one that comes out after we get rid of these 3MIB ones. But
nice.
Yes, short box Bernie. Black is very thinning. That's why most of my shirts are black. And that's all I got. This is the point where you tell us what you got going on, man. Tell the community what you got coming up on your channel, YouTube, Instagram, whatever you want to. You got something to sell? Sell it now, brother.
Cool. Yeah, so tomorrow, me and the crew, Newbie, FaceTime, and Keys. I know that Keys sometimes with work and all that, he's not been able to make it. But for sure, me, Newbie, and Face, tomorrow we'll be talking Falcon and Winter Soldier. We're going to be talking about the books that would be relevant possibly to the upcoming Disney Plus show that's coming out this Friday. So that's going to be Tuesday at 9:30. Thursday, me and Newbie are actually going to be appearing on Team Nerd Herd. This is actually going to be my second appearance on Team Nerd Herd and Newbie's first appearance. So
nice.
We're going to be looking forward to that. And me and Newbie are going to continue our social media world tour at Spinetix on Saturday. This will actually be Newbie's first time on Spinetix. Initially, I wasn't going to go on, and I wanted to let Newbie, get clipped on by himself. But Sith kind of, I guess he talked me into it, so I'll be joining Newbie as well for morale. Yep, for morale. Nice. On Spinetix.
Morale, or really give him a hard time, and you'll be a little more comfortable on there.
I think it'll be a bit of both. It's nice to have someone that I could possibly deflect off of. So. Nice. So yeah, it'll be a good time though. Always a fun group at the Spinetix show. So yeah, looking forward to that. And Sundays, it's our usual new comic book talk and spec show. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the rest of the week.
Nice, and that's all on Newbie's channel. He was a guest on this show a couple weeks ago. So if you don't follow him, definitely go over there, follow, hit the notification bell. So when their shows go live, man, you get notified, because there's a lot of stuff. A lot of times I'll forget it's going to be on, and once I hit that notification, it reminds me to go watch. So that's a big part of, especially when you enjoy the live stuff from some of these channels. So make sure you guys go check them all out. They got a lot of great content happening, and maybe I'll pop in on Saturday to help make fun of you guys a little bit. We'll see.
You know what? I wouldn't put that past you, Roger.
We'll see, definitely. Or I can go to bed early and wake up at 5 a.m, 6 a.m, have a cup of coffee, and you guys will still be on.
You will still be on probably. So
I want to thank everybody that's in the chat, everybody that's been hanging out with us. It's been great. We still got 36 people watching. Anybody watching this on the rewind, thank you very much. As I always say, the most valuable thing you can give to me is your time. So I thank everybody for your time. I appreciate you giving me your time, hanging out with me. This was great. You're a great guest, and I appreciate everything you do for the community, man. Absolutely. You, man. So on behalf of 3 Men in the Basement, Everett Otto, Dave in the Cave, I am Roger Levesque, a.k.a. the Cranky Canadian, and peace, everybody. Good night, Canada.